I Carry Your Heart With Me, I Carry It In by E.E. Cummings. I carry your heart with me. I carry it in my heart. I am never without it. Anywhere I go, you go, my dear. And whatever is done by only me is your doing, my darling. I fear no fate, for you are my fate, my sweet. I want no world, for beautiful, you are my world, my true. And it's you, or whatever a moon has always meant, and whatever a sun will always sing is you. Here is the deepest secret nobody knows. Here is the root of the root, and the bud of the bud, and the sky of a tree called life, which grows higher than soul can hope or mind can hide. And this is the wonder that's keeping the stars apart. I carry your heart. I carry it in my heart.
Love's Philosophy by Percy Bysshe Shelley. The fountains mingle with the river, and the rivers with the ocean. The winds of heaven mix forever with a sweet emotion. Nothing in the world is single. All things by law divine, in one spirit meet and mingle. Why not I with thine? See the mountains kiss high heaven, and the waves clasp one another. No sister flower would be forgiven if it disdained its brother. And the sunlight clasps the earth, and the moonbeams kiss the sea. What is all this sweet work worth, if thou kiss not me? Thank you.
It Couldn't Be Done by Edgar Albert Guest. Somebody said that it couldn't be done, but he, with a chuckle, replied that maybe it couldn't, but he would be one who wouldn't say so till he tried. So he buckled right in, with the trace of a grin on his face, if he worried he hid it. He started to sing as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done, and he did it. Somebody scoffed, "Oh, you'll never do that. At least no one ever has done it." But he took off his coat, and he took off his hat, and the first thing we knew, he'd begun it. With a lift of his chin and a bit of a grin, without any doubting or quitted, he started to sing as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done, and he did it. There are thousands to tell you it cannot be done. There are thousands to prophesy failure. There are thousands to point out to you, one by one, the dangers that wait to assail you. But just buckle in with a bit of a grin. Just take off your coat and go to it. Just start to sing as you tackle the thing that cannot be done, and you'll do it.
Fairy Tale Logic by A.E. Stallings. Fairy tales are full of impossible tasks. Gather the chin hairs of a man-eating goat, or cross a sulfuric lake in a leaky boat. Select the prince from a row of identical masks. Tiptoe up to a dragon where it basks, and snatch its bone. Count dust specks mote by mote, or learn the phone directory by rote. Always it's impossible what someone asks. You have to fight magic with magic. You have to believe that you've got something impossible up your sleeve. The language of snakes, perhaps, an invisible cloak, an army of ants at your beck, or a lethal joke. The will to do what must be done. Marry a monster. Hand over your firstborn son. Thank you.
A Birthday by Christina Rossetti. My heart is like a singing bird whose nest is in a watered shoot. My heart is like an apple tree whose boughs are bent with thick-set fruit. My heart is like a rainbow shell that paddles on a hail-cone sea. My heart is gladder than all of these because my love has come to me. Raise me a days of silken down, hang it in vair and purple dyes. Carve it into pomegranates and peacocks with 100 eyes. Work it in gold and silver grapes, in leaves and silver fleur-de-lis, because the birthday of my life has come. My love has come to me.
Abecedarium requiring further examination of Anglican seraphim subjugation of a wild Indian reservation. Angels don't come to the res. Bats maybe, or owls, boxy mottled things. Coyotes too. They all mean the same thing, death. And death eats angels, I guess, because I haven't seen an angel fly through this valley ever. Gabriel? Never heard of him. Knew a guy named Gabe, though. He came through here one powwow and stayed. Typical Indian. Sure, he had wings, jailbird that he was. He flies around in stolen cars, and wherever he stops, kids grow like gourds from women's bellies. Like I said, no Indian I've ever heard of has ever been or seen an angel. Maybe in a Christmas pageant or something. Nazarene Church holds one every December, organized by Pastor John's wife. It's no wonder Pastor John's son is the angel. Everyone knows angels are white. Quit bothering with angels, I say. They're no good for Indians. Remember what happened last time some white god came floating across the ocean? Truth is, there may be angels. But if there are angels up there, living on clouds or sitting on thrones across the sea, wearing velvet robes and golden rings, drinking whiskey from silver cups, we're better off if they stay rich and fat and ugly and exactly where they are, in their own distant heavens. You better hope you never see angels on the res. If you do, they'll be marching you off to Zion or Oklahoma, or some other hell they've mapped out for us. Thank you.
Hope is the thing with feathers by Emily Dickinson. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. And sweetest in the gale is heard, and sore must be the storm that could abash the little bird that kept so many warm. I've heard it in the chillest land and on the strangest sea, yet never in extremity it asked a crumb of me.
Midnight Office by Cynthia Cruz. The child is not dead. She is sleeping, gone from this world which is broken. The angel of Michael in outside the garden. His ring of fire maddening the trees. He breathes life back into her, this heavy kind of music. And she is free, as we all are. I stood there that night in the icy winds, praying for the storm to destroy me. But it passed through me like I was some kind of hologram. If you say I'm a mystic, then fine, I'm a mystic. But trees are not always trees anyway.
The Days Gone by James Whitcomb Riley. Oh, the days gone by, oh, the days gone by, the apples in the orchard and the pathway through the rye, the chirrup of the robin and the whistle of the quail as he piped across the meadows, sweet as any nightingale. When the bloom was in the clover and the blue was in the sky, and my happy heart brimmed over in the days gone by. In the days gone by, where my naked feet were tripped by the honeysuckle's tangles where the water lilies dipped, and the ripples of the river lipped the moss along the brink, where the placid-eyed and lazy-footed cattle came to drink. And the tilting snipe stood fearless in the truant's wayward cry, and the splashing of the swimmer in the days gone by. Oh, the days gone by, oh, the days gone by, the music of the laughing lip, the luster of the eye, the childish faith in fairies and Aladdin's magic ring, the simple, soul-reposing, glad belief in everything, when life was like a story, holding neither sob nor sigh, in the golden olden glory of the days gone by.
Hope is the Thing with Feathers by Emily Dickinson. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. And sweetest in the gale is heard, and sore must be the storm that could abash the little bird that kept so many warm. I've heard it in the chillest land and on the strangest sea, yet never in extremity it asked a crumb of me.
The Arrow in the Song by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. I shot an arrow into the air. It fell to earth, I knew not where. For so swiftly it flew, the sight could not follow in its flight. I breathed the song into the air. It fell to earth, I knew not where. For who has sight so keen and strong that it could follow the flight of song? Long afterwards in an oak, I found the arrow still unbroke, and the song from beginning to end I found again in the heart of a friend. Thank you.
Iron Vessels by Peter Cole. Either the world is coming together, or else the world is falling apart. Here, now, along these letters, against the walls of every heart. Today, tomorrow, within its weather, the end or beginning's about to start. The world impossibly coming together, or very possibly coming apart. Now the lovers' mouths are open. Maybe the miracle's about to start. The world within us coming together, because all around us, it's falling apart. Even as they speak, he wonders, even as the fear departs. Is that the world coming together? Can they keep it from falling apart? The image gradually is growing sharper. Now the sound is like a dart. It seemed their world was coming together, but in fact, it was falling apart. That's the nightmare, that's the tear, that's the Isaac of this art, which sees that the world might come together if only we're willing to take it apart. The dream, the lure, is the prayer's answer, which can't be plotted on any chart. As we know, the world that's coming together, without our knowing, is falling apart. Thank you.
May You Always Be the Darling of Fortune by Jane Miller. March 10th, and the snow flees like eloping brides into rain. The imperceptible change begins out of an old rage and glistens, chaste, with its new craving, spring. May your desire always overcome your need. Your story you have to tell, enchanting, mutable, may it fill the world you believe. A sunny view, flowers lunging from the sill, the quilt, the chair, all things fill with you and empty and fill and hurry. Because now, as I tire of my studied abandon, counting the days, I'm sad. Yet, I trust in your absence, in everything wholly evident. The rain in the white basin, and I, vigilant. Thank you.
Monet Refuses the Operation by Liesl Mueller. Doctor, you say there are no halos around the streetlights in Paris, and what I see is an aberration caused by old age and affliction. I tell you, it has taken me all my life to arrive at the vision of gas lamps as angels, to soften and blur and finally banish the edges you regret I don't see. To learn that the line I called the horizon does not exist, and sky and water so long apart are the same state of being. 54 years before I could see Rouen Cathedral is built of parallel shafts of sun. And now you want to restore my youthful errors, fixed notions of top and bottom, the illusion of three-dimensional space, wisteria separate from the bridge it covers. What can I say to convince you the Houses of Parliament dissolve night after night to become the fluid dream of the Thames? I will not return to a universe of objects that don't know each other, as if islands were not the lost children of one great continent. The world is flux, and light becomes what it touches. Becomes water, lilies on water, above and below water. Becomes lilac and mauve and yellow and white and cerulean lamps, small faces passing sunlight so quickly to one another that it would take long, streaming hair inside my brush to catch it. To paint the speed of light, our weighted shapes, these verticals burn to mix with air, and change our bones, skin, clothes to gases. Doctor, if only you could see how heaven pulls earth into its arms and how infinitely the heart expands to claim this world. Blue vapor without end. Thank you.
Hope is the Thing with Feathers by Emily Dickinson. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. And sweetest in the gale is heard, and sore must be the storm that could abash the little bird that kept so many warm. I've heard it in the chillest land and on the strangest sea, yet never in extremity it asked a crumb of me. Thank you.
The Old Liberators by Robert Heaton. Of all the people in the mornings at the mall, it's the old liberators I like best. Those veterans of the Bulge, Anzio, or Monte Cassino I see lost in automotive or back in home repair, bored among the paints and power tools. Or the really old ones, the ones who are going fast, who keep dozing off in the little orchards of shade under the distant skylights. All around, from one bright rack to another, their wives stride big as generals, their handbags bulging like ripe fruit. They're almost all gone now, and with them they're taking the flak and firestorms, the names of the old bombing runs. Each day a little more their memory goes out, darkens the way a house darkens, its rooms quietly filling with evening until nothing but the wind lifts the lace curtains. The wind bearing through the empty rooms, the rich, far-off scent of gardens where, just now, this morning, light is falling on the wild philodendrons. Thank you.
Self-Portrait as So Much Potential by Chen Chen. Dreaming of one day being as fearless as a mango, as friendly as a tomato, merciless to chin and shirt front. Realizing I hate the word sip, but that's all I do. I drink so slowly and say I'm tasting it, when really I'm just bad at taking in liquid. I'm no mango or tomato. I'm a rusty yawn in a rumored year. I am an Arctic addict. Come able and ampersand through the slippery polar clutter. I am not the heterosexual neat freak my mother raised me to be. I am a gay sipper, and my mother has placed what's left of her hope in my brothers. She wants them to gulp up the world, spit out solid degrees, responsible grandchildren ready to gobble. They will be better than me, my brothers. Though I have trouble imagining what that could be. Flying mangoes, perhaps. Flying mango-tomato hybrids. Beautiful sons.
Self-Help by Michael Ryan. What kind of delusion are you under? The life he hid just knocked you flat. You see the lightning, but not the thunder. What God hath joined, let no man put asunder. Did God know you'd marry a rat? What kind of delusion are you under? His online persona simply stunned her, as it did when you started to chat. You see the lightning, but not the thunder. To the victors go the plunder. We should crown them with a baseball bat. What kind of delusion are you under? The kind that causes blunder after blunder. Is there any other kind than that? You see the lightning, but not the thunder. And for 1 second, the world's a wonder. Just keep it thrilling under your hat. What kind of delusion are you under? You see the lightning, but not the thunder. Thank you.
April Love by Ernest Dowson. We have walked in love's land a little way. We have learned his lesson a little while. And shall we not part at the end of day with a sigh, a smile? A little while in the shine of the sun, we were twined together, joined lips forgot. How the shadows fall when the day is done, and when love is not. We have made no vows, there will none be broke. Our love was free as the wind on the hill. There was no word said, we need wish unspoke. We have wrought no ill. So shall we not part at the end of day, who have loved and lingered a little while, join lips for the last time, go our way, with a sigh, a smile?
The Paradox by Paul Laurence Dunbar. I am the mother of sorrow. I'm the ender of grief. I'm the bud and the blossom. I'm the late fallen leaf. I am thy priest and thy poet, thy serf and thy king. I cure the tears of the heartsick. When I come near, thou shalt sing. White are my hands as snowdrops. Swart are my fingers as clay. Dark is my frown as midnight. Fair is my brow as day. Battles and wars are my minions, doing my bidding as divine. I'm the calmer of passion. Peace is a nursling of mine. Speak to me gently or curse me. Seek me or fly from my sight. I am thy slave or fool in the morning. Thou art my slave at night. Down from the grave I will take thee, away from the noise of the strife. Then thou shalt see me and know me, death no longer but life. Then thou shalt sing my comings, kiss me with passion's breath, clasp me and smile to have thought me aught save the foeman of death. Come to me, brother, when weary. Come when thy lonely heart swells. I will guide thy footsteps down where dream women dwell.
Abandoned Farmhouse by Ted Kooser. He was a big man, says the size of his shoes, on a pile of broken dishes by the house. A tall man, too, says the length of the bed in an upstairs room. A good, God-fearing man, says the Bible with the broken back, on the floor below the window, dusty with sun. But not a man for farming, say the fields, cluttered with boulders and the leaky barn. A woman lived with him, says the bedroom wall, papered with lilacs, and the kitchen shelves covered with oilcloth. And they had a child, says the sandbox made from tractor tire. Money was scarce, say the jar of plum preserves and canned tomatoes sealed in the cellar hole. It was lonely here, say the rags on the window frame, and it was lonely here, says the narrow country road. Something went wrong, says the house in the weed-choked yard. Stones in the field say he was not a farmer. The still sealed jars in the cellar say she left in a nervous haste. And the child, its toys are strewn in the yard like branches after a storm. A rubber cow, a rusty tractor with a broken plow, a doll in overalls. Something went wrong, they say.
Tall Ambrosia by Henry David Thoreau. Among the signs of autumn I perceive the Roman wormwood, called by learned men ambrosia elatoire, food for gods. For to impartial science is the humblest weed, is as immortal once as the proudest flower, sprinkles its yellow dust over my shoes as I cross the now neglected garden. We trample underfoot the food of gods, and spill their nectar in each drop of dew. My honest shoes, fast friends that never stray, far from my couch, thus powdered country field, bearing many a mile the marks of their adventure. At the post house disgrace the Gallic gloss of those well-dressed ones who know morning dew, nor Roman wormwood ever have been through, who never walk but are transported rather, for what crime of theirs I do not gather. Thank you.
Back Up Quick, They're Hippies by Lonnie O'Hanlon. That was the year we drove into the commune in Cornwall. Jesus, Jim, Mom said. Back up quick, they're hippies. Through the car window, tents, row after row, flaps open, long-haired men and women, curled around each other like babies, and the babies themselves wandered naked across the grass. I reached for the handle, ready, almost to open the door, drop out and wave for my sister's aggressive thighs, Daddy's slapping hands. Back home at Dandelion Market, I unlearned steps my mother taught, bought a headband, an African coat, a French skirt, leather skin. Barefoot on common grass, I lie down with Ken. Thank you.
The Listeners by Walter de la Mare. Is there anybody there? Said the traveler, knocking on the moonlit door. And his horse in the silence champed the grasses of the forest's ferny floor. And a bird flew up out of the turret above the traveler's head. And he smote upon the door a second time, Is there anybody there? He said. But no one descended to the traveler. No head from the leaf-fringed seal leaned over and looked into his gray eyes, where he stood, perplexed and still. But only a host of phantom listeners that dwelt in the lone house then stood listening in the quiet of the moonlight to that voice from the world of men. Stood thronging the faint moonbeams on the dark stair that goes down to the empty hall, hearkening in an air stirred and shaken by the lonely traveler's call. And he felt in his heart their strangeness, their stillness answering his cry, while his horse moved cropping the dark turf neath the starred and leafy sky. For he suddenly smote upon the door, even louder, and lifted his head. Tell them I came and no one answered, that I kept my word, he said. Never the least stir made the listeners, though every word he spake fell echoing through the shadowiness of the still house from the one man left awake. Aye, they heard his foot upon the stirrup, and the sound of iron on stone, and how the silence surged softly backward when the plunging hoofs